During Georgia's G-Day scrimmage just a few weeks ago, former Bulldog quarterback Aaron Murray said that Kirby Smart was the king of college football. And I think that's a fair statement because it's true, right? If you're a Florida fan, Tennessee fan, Auburn fan, Georgia Tech fan, you have to admit it as well, right? If there's one face, one person out there who is the face of college football, the king of college football, you would have to say it's Kirby Smart. He's led Georgia to 2 out of 3 national championships, in the running for maybe another one this year. And listen, Kirby Smart has built this program to sustain year after year after year. They're not going anywhere. They're not falling off like Clemson and LSU has, and a lot of other major programs that used to win in the past, right? Past history that aren't winning now. Kirby Smart has set this program up for success for the foreseeable future. And they will be in contention and competing for national titles as long as Kirby Smart is in Athens. That's why he's the king of college football, especially without Nick Saban. But Ladd McConkey, who was just drafted by the Chargers a few days ago in the second round of the NFL draft, here's what he had to say about Kirby Smart. And it kind of adds to what makes him such a special coach. He said, "Coach Smart just gets the best out of you. He's the ultimate competitor. He wants us to win. He sets us up for success. I feel like a lot of it will translate into the next level." He's 100% correct because Coach Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs are obviously pumping out as much talent into the NFL as any other college football program out there. And next year, they could break their own school record. There's a ton of guys who I think will be picked in next year's draft. But, for me, I covered this team and I covered recruiting in the Mark Richt, days, right? So I see the difference between the two, and I just start doing this, after Kirby Smart was hired. So I have an understanding of what they were doing wrong in the previous staff, what they're doing right now. And the biggest thing that I think has changed, outside of building a dominant offense and defensive line, which just didn't happen in the Mark Richt days, was the culture change. The winning culture, the winning DNA that runs through this program, every aspect of it, not only the coaching staff and the players, but the strength and conditioning, all the assistants, the nutritional staff. I mean, everything in that football facility, everyone in the building does a great job. It's about the little things. Everyone is accountable, everyone is responsible, and everyone works hard. I tell you what, man, it's nerve-wracking. I've heard working for Kirby Smart, everyone can be on edge. It's tough to work with him. You have to be on your P's and Q's. You have to work hard. And it has turned into multiple championships and beating their rivals consistently, not by just a touchdown or two most of the time, but by 20 plus points, right? That's what you have to do if you want to build a program. And Kirby Smart has done that. He came in to Athens and said, we're going to build the offensive line. We're going to build the defensive line. I'm going to recruit, but I'm also going to find several under the radar 3-star guys that nobody else wants. I see what no one else is seeing. I'm going to bring them in with all these 5 and 4 stars, and I'm going to turn this 3-star player into a first round pick. Jordan Davis, right? Eric Stokes, a lot of other guys. Some of them slipped into the second round like Ladd McConkey and others, but they're doing everything the right way. And it's so much different from what we did in the past, or what I saw from the Georgia program in the past, where they just didn't take it as serious. They weren't closing things out. They weren't crossing every T and dotting every I. They were going to swim at the Ramsey Center. Is that what it's called? I didn't go to Georgia. I wasn't smart enough to go to Georgia. Never even thought about going to Georgia because I was a bad student. It just is what it is. So I think it's the Ramsey Center where, Mark Richt would take the guys to the high dive, and, while Alabama was getting better on the football field, Mark Richt took the team swimming, and they're not going swimming anymore in June and July or in fall camp, whenever that happened. They're working. They're working as hard as they can. That's how you build a championship program, and that's why Kirby Smart is on top. He's the face of college football. He's the best coach in college football. He's a future college football Hall of Famer, and by the time his career is up, he's going to be looked at as one of the greatest college football coaches of all time. Not only because of what he's done in Athens, but he helped build the Alabama dynasty. The Alabama dynasty that they had, a lot of it has to do with Kirby Smart. You can't write that story without writing several chapters about what Kirby Smart did as the defensive coordinator and as an ace recruiter for that staff. I mean, without Kirby Smart, I don't know how many of those national championships Alabama has. And I'm not taking anything away from Nick Saban. It's just a fact. It's reality. Kirby Smart meant so much to that program, and you're seeing why in Athens. He's built a monster. He's built a powerhouse, and it's one that's going to sustain. What Kirby Smart has built at Georgia is the closest thing to what we've seen Nick Saban do at Alabama. Dabo Swinney had a nice little run, but they've fallen off, right? Georgia's going to be relevant and a consistent championship caliber program year after year after year. Clemson has fallen off, right? When they don't have a generational type of quarterback, they're above average. That's an above average team and an above average program when they don't have a superstar quarterback. It just is what it is. And they're still bringing in 5-star quarterbacks who couldn't do anything at Clemson. DJ Uiagalelei, Cade Klubnik is not the guy I don't think they thought he would be. Again, they had 2 generational quarterbacks that led them to championships. That's it. Dabo Swinney gets credit for that, but let's not talk like he's one of the greats. He had a run, and it looked like Dabo Swinney could go down as this incredible, one of the I meant to say great college football coaches, then I went to say GOAT, and it came out as GROAT. You know, it happens. When I try to talk too fast, I get my thoughts all jumbled up in here, and then I spew them out, and I get words like GROAT and what was the one? Young and hungry. I said last week, Youngry. A lot of Youngry players that the Dogs have. And that's another reason why they're just going to get better and better and better. Rarely does Kirby Smart and his staff miss on the recruiting trail. They missed with Tyler Simmons, who they just wanted to beat Alabama for when Kirby Smart just got the job. He said, I want to beat Alabama for someone. Tyler Simmons is really fast. Turns out he couldn't catch, especially in big moments, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm not trying to downplay him, but he wasn't very good, and he wasn't good enough to play at Georgia right now. He was good enough to play at Georgia, when Kirby Smart first got there, because they needed a guy like him and his speed. Tyler Simmons wouldn't sniff the field right now at Georgia. A lot of those players, early in the Kirby's day, would not touch the field. I remember him saying in 2016, his first year in Athens, he was like, there's only a handful of guys who are good enough to play here. There's only a handful of guys on this roster who are good enough to play in the SEC and play high caliber winning football. He knew that he was up against it. And the guys he was talking about was Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, Roquan Smith, and Mo Smith, who he basically brought from Alabama, had the pick six against Auburn, which won them a game essentially that first year. It was a big deal, but he changed the roster around and he changed the culture around. And before Kirby got there, Georgia was the program that was losing every big game, right? They would win some big games that did matter, but they weren't winning the big ones. They weren't beating Alabama. They weren't, pushing through, and they weren't winning big, exciting fourth quarter games at the end. And they were losing to teams that weren't great. And it was a rough first year for Kirby Smart, but of course, he had a few badass guys on the roster. Again, Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, and Roquan. But for the most part, they had Tyler Catalina out there playing left tackle. Now, if you play left tackle, you're almost guaranteed to be a first-round pick. And again, that's another big thing that's changed. The offensive line. I've talked about that a lot, and the defensive line. But Aaron Murray's right. Kirby Smart is the king of college football because of everything he did. He made sure he built the trenches. He built the quarterback position to one where you have to wait your turn. Jake Fromm started as a freshman because Jacob Eason went down. I don't know if we'll ever, in Kirby Smart's tenure at Georgia, see a freshman starting quarterback at Georgia. I just don't see how that happens. They are loading up. Guys are sitting. Guys are waiting because they know if they can become the quarterback at the University of Georgia, they're going to be surrounded with talent. Kirby, he gets it from a recruiting standpoint, development standpoint, building a culture, building a team, building an environment, the connection they have. It's all started with him, but he's also a great in-game X's and O's guys. He knows the game. He knows how to make adjustments. He knows how to manage the clock. He knows if there's a fake punt coming that could cost you the Peach Bowl, to call a timeout right before. He gets the game and understands the game in a way that just about every active college football coach doesn't. And we'll see, a lot of them, there are a lot of really good coaches in college football right now. None of them are good, or as good or better than Kirby Smart. That's a fact. That's not me saying anything. That's just reality. He's the best. He's the king of college football, and you can read more about him over on Dawg Post. Sign up to our free newsletter. That link is down below. It's free to sign up. It's free to read a lot of stories we have on the site. So I hope you enjoyed this video, but I want to see you on Dawg Post. I'll see you there.